Hello, this is Bill Steffen. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll talk a little bit about weather and then some interesting things that happened on this date. I want to take a quick time out to thank everybody in Grand Haven. And one of my favorite days is Coast Guard Saturday. Had a great time walking in the parade and seeing some friends that I haven't seen in over a year. So it was a great day. It really was. And speaking of Ottawa County, we want to thank the Ottawa News Network for becoming an affiliate, and we wish everyone the best that's joining us from Ottawa County. Well, let's take a look at weather a little bit here. We got lots to talk about today. A satellite picture from earlier today, and look at the smoke that's in the air. If you look down towards southern Ohio, southern Indiana, you can see the picture is darker there where the sky is clearer, and there are some clouds down there, but where we have the smoke here, it's fairly thick across lower Michigan, and it's going to hang around here for at least one more day. So next graphic shows you the air quality alert, and that is in effect here for Monday, all this Monday. And I also have to see if they linger into Tuesday, but it covers all the counties here under that alert, and this is for particulate matter. The air tends to mix a little bit more here during the daytime, so at night cooler air kind of settles near the ground and the air doesn't mix very much, but as we get into the heat of the day, you get that air mixing aloft, and that can mix down a little bit of that smoke, so it sometimes gets a little bit worse during the mid to late afternoon when temperatures are the warmest. An update on the fires in Manitoba here. 22 fires are now out of control. That's up 4 from Saturday. So that's not a good sign. 168 firefighters. They have added 2 new water bombers. So they're taking this seriously now. They have 8 of them flying, 43 helicopters, and those helicopters have been flying all summer long up there in Manitoba, and 6 other aircraft. That's an increase of 1. They would be aircraft that would be spreading chemicals, sometimes that orange powder that comes down that you see coming out of planes. But there's a pretty good attack coming on these fires here, and we wish them the best. A fairly dry pattern up in Manitoba, just like it's been over parts of West Michigan here. All right, some high temperatures here for Sunday. The warmest spot was the Holland Airport at 83. Big Rapids at Fremont, 82. Grand Rapids at 80 was warmer than Battle Creek again, where they've had more rain in Battle Creek. Temperature there is topped at 78. And it was cooler at the lakeshore and cooler than it's been the past couple of days because of the fact the water's colder there. I'll show you that in just a minute, but the water temperatures have cooled quite a bit, and that's keeping the temperatures down right at the lakeshore. Muskegon Pier, the high temperature was 71. And it never even made 70 at the Holland Pier and at the South Haven Lighthouse here come Sunday afternoon. Still a nice day out there, though. All right, I'll take a look at the lakeshore forecast here for a little bit. And this is going to be another fairly calm day. From midnight to 5 p.m. on Sunday, the average wind speed in Grand Rapids was only 3.5 miles an hour. For a while, the wave height was down to 3 inches at the South Haven buoy. So I mean, that's pretty much generated by the boats going by and the barges and the tankers and everything. But look at the water temperatures. This is for Sunday afternoon. We had 64 at Ludington and Mears, just 54 at Duck Lake and at Grand Haven, and 52 at Holland. Wow. If you want to go swimming, try an inland lake. Reed's Lake afternoon peaked at 82. It was 79 during the early morning, but the inland lakes, of course, much warmer. And with the sunshine and warm temperatures, inland lakes should stay fairly warm, and lakeshore temperatures should be warming up as the sun works on that cool air and cool water there that's over by the lakeshore. Now we will take time to salute one of our fine sponsors. Take a listen.
Need a fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service? Complete Care Concierge has you covered. Serving all of West Michigan, we offer one-time, daily, weekly, and bi-weekly cleans, plus move in, move out. We also service apartment hallways and laundry rooms. Our work is guaranteed, gift cards are available, and we even clean on weekends. There's no better way to say I love you than giving a tired mom a break from dishes and laundry. Are you a busy professional? Pamper yourself by taking vacuuming and dusting off your plate. Office manager? Keep your business looking and feeling its very best. Call 616-264-1397 today for a spotless space and total peace of mind.
Here's a look at the severe weather threat here for Monday and Monday night. There's an area of marginal risk. That's level 1 in the dark green color on the map. That runs from Montana down through the western area of South Dakota and down between Colorado and Kansas. There could be an isolated thunder shower south of Chicago here, but I don't think we'll see anything here in the state of Michigan. That white color indicates no thunderstorms and no rain as the dry conditions continue here. We move ahead to Tuesday, and Tuesday's map will show you that we've got, again, just a smaller area, a relatively small area of marginal risk. That's level 1. That's in the northern plains. It will be dry in lower Michigan. Could be a thunder shower in the western UP, but even those would be few and far between. Taking a look right now at what's up next here for us. We've got the 66-hour rainfall map, and over the next 66 hours, it's not going to rain in Michigan anywhere. It's going to be dry. You can see the rains in the plains, and look at the rain down in parts of Georgia, southeastern Alabama, and northwest Florida. The red color indicates 4 inches of rain expected. The yellow is 1.5 inches. So if you want to see rain, that's the place to head, is down there toward Dothan, Alabama, Pensacola, maybe Albany, Georgia there, even up toward Atlanta. They could see a pretty good soaking. We'll take a look at the average temperatures here for the region. It's 82 and 63, and it holds like that all this week. We've lost another couple of minutes of daylight. Sunrise now at 6:37. It was as early as 6:03, and the sunset at 8:59 now. It comes before 9 o'clock. The record high temperature for today, 100, set in 1964. And our record low temperature, 46, and we hit that 3 times, 1912, 1965, and the following year in 1966. Taking a look at a tropical update for you, and look at the map on the left. What a change from yesterday. The Hurricane Center was saying we weren't going to get anything, and now we've got 3 blobs they're looking at. The red one right there is at the tail end of a cold front. And that red X is where, in the red color, that's where they really expect the tropical storm to form. It would be called Dexter. And you can see the movement is northeast away from the coast, so it's not going to present any problem, except it may cause a couple of ships out there to change course just a little bit to avoid that. The yellow circular one there off the coast of South Carolina, that's a week away from developing into much of anything, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. And the orange area, that's a 40% chance of development over a fairly wide area. That would be called Aaron, and we're certainly keeping up on that. Now, in the Eastern Pacific, the map on the right, we've got Gill, which is faded away. We've got in that red area right there, we've got what will soon become Henriette. That's the next name on the list. And that orange area could be another tropical storm developing, and all of these will stay pretty much off the Mexican coast. So while there is some activity right now, we see nothing that's really posing any significant threat to land. In the Western Pacific Ocean, the map shows that we've got a tropical storm that's diminishing into a depression and just passing by Japan, and you can see it's relatively small. I love looking at these maps to show where it's sunny and where it is. I mean, day after day of relentless sunshine across Egypt, North Sudan, the Arabian Peninsula, Australia. By the way, that little circular area right there in the Indian Ocean shouldn't amount to anything either. So pretty quiet out there for this time of year in the Western Pacific. Okay, we'll take a look at headlines now and show you what's ahead. Some sunshine, but it will be dimmed a little bit because of the layer of smoke in the air. It should be pretty similar today. It may, especially southeast of Grand Rapids, it may clear out just a little bit, but most of us will still see the smoke. Dry weather expected through at least Tuesday, and light winds. I would expect today winds during the day about 3 to 6 miles an hour. For much of the day. It may be a little bit more than that near Lake Michigan. High temperature, a couple degrees warmer than yesterday at 83. Low temperature in the early morning at 57. We've had a nice half moon up there in the sky, which looks just a little bit orangish pinkish, shining through the haze. Humidity falls to a rather low 45%. Fire danger is up a little bit because of the dry conditions we've had, but with very light winds, it's not as severe as it might be. And our winds generally east-southeast at 5 miles an hour. The winds may turn west off the lake because there's some cold water out there. There could be some lake cooling, and that would be right along the lake shore. Taking a look at the forecast here, some high temperatures expected here today. 83 for Greenville, 76 for South Haven, a little bit cooler there near the water. 81 for Kalamazoo. Again, the computer picking up on the fact that it may be a degree warmer north of Grand Rapids than off to the south where they've had more rain. Remember, I mentioned earlier that they've had over 11 inches of rain since June 1st in Battle Creek and less than 2 inches in Holland. So quite a disparity there. Up in the UP, temperatures will be in the upper 70s to low 80s. And the outlook here for Tuesday calls for temperatures to be just a couple degrees warmer. We'll be up into the mid 80s here during the day. A little bit cooler again off to the north, 86 Grand Rapids, 82, 83 down at Kalamazoo. South Haven makes 80 before a little bit of a lake breeze kicks in. Traverse City, a warm 86, 81 up in Marquette. So the UP has 2 very fine days coming up. I added one more day. The next map is for Saturday. And Saturday, of course, is going to be a great weekend to be out. There should be a fair amount of sunshine once again, but it will be on the hot side. We're looking for temperatures around 90 or 91 in Grand Rapids, 85 South Haven near the lake, 86 at the Ludington Airport. With winds turning a little bit more to the south, it should reach 90 in Traverse City here Saturday afternoon. It'll be a good day to jump in the bay up there. And even in the UP, a lot of temperatures up into the 80s. And even a couple spots up there coming close to 90 degrees. Taking a look at the long range outlook here out to Friday, a lot of sunshine for you. We got about a 30% chance of a shower or thunder shower on Wednesday. That would be during the afternoon. And keep in mind the 30% is less than a third. So many of us will get through Thursday without any rain, just a 20% chance on Thursday. Once we get past the 5-day period here into next weekend, Saturday night and Sunday, probably our best chance of rain over the next week or so. And you can see how the temperatures warm up, 83, 86, 87, 89, and 90 by the time we hit Friday. The overall long-range outlook continues to give us warm temperatures. By the way, if you look at Alaska, Alaska cools off a little bit. Alaska was warm. The Barrow Airport, northernmost airport in the United States, reached 60, and that doesn't sound warm, but their average high temperature is mid-40s, so 60 was a relatively warm day for them. They have not reached 70 at the Barrow Airport all this summer. So that's and it's getting late to be reaching 70 because that sun is shrinking a little bit up there in Alaska already. We're well above average here, so our warm temperatures, warmer than average temperatures, will continue just like we had in July. They will continue here during the month of August. And in terms of rainfall, the map shows we should be a little bit above average. And like I said, keep in mind, rainfall varies quite a bit during the summertime. You can have 11 inches of rain in Battle Creek, 2 inches in Holland. Average them together and you get above average precipitation. So that would make the map green if you were looking at a general large area, but quite a bit of variation there within that area. Okay, we got a lot to talk about here. Some other things too. Brian sent us a nice email here, and that's an interesting picture. He said, saw this low cloud at 9 p.m. So it's getting towards sunset. This was looking west on I-96 over toward the Detroit area. Was an impressive, humid day with afternoon storms. I believe there was a tornado watch as the storms moved out of Grand Rapids. I don't know if what I saw was part of the original storm. Probably was, and it's really interesting. From a still picture, you can't see rotation within the cloud, but it does not appear that this is touching the ground. We had no reports of any damage there. But it would have been very interesting had that shown rotation. They would have issued a tornado warning for that, I would imagine, as that was kind of a marginal day for tornadoes, but certainly something to keep in mind. And again, that southern tier, from Benton Harbor through Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Jackson over to Detroit, has seen a fair amount of rain here this summer. And up around Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Holland, we've been on the shy side. But Brian, thanks so much for sending that along to us here. Something else interesting on this date, August 4th, 1876, Calvin College, the Knights, founded in Grand Rapids, named after John Calvin, the Protestant reformer. It was founded by the Christian Reformed Church in North America, started with 7 students. That's really amazing. You can start a whole college with 7 students. Women were admitted in 1901. There were a number of colleges in the Midwest that admitted women. I think Hillsdale College, if I'm not mistaken, was the first college in Michigan to admit women. Today, there are 3,200 students at Calvin College. Very interesting. All right, something else interesting on this date. The telephone was demonstrated in Grand Rapids on this date in 1877. Now we have, iPhones in our pockets and an amazing communication device. But back then, the Grand Rapids Plaster Company owned the first telephone in Michigan. They held a public demonstration on August 4, 1877. The president of the Plaster Company was friends with Alexander Graham Bell, so that's how they got the phones. One of the first organizations to have a telephone was the Detroit Police Department to communicate amongst their units. And we've come a very long way. Look at the telephone there in the picture. And you remember they were all rotary. And I remember even I'm old enough to remember when you had a party line, when you would pick up the phone and there was already somebody having a conversation on it. So you used to hang up and wait for the other party to leave the phone before you could come on and use it. And you had to be a little careful what you say because somebody could be listening in those days. All right, we'll move on to the next one here and see what else the state is famous for. Grand Rapids elected its first woman mayor. What was her name? We know her as Rosalind Bliss, who at one point in time was interested in meteorology, and an interesting person to talk to. So if somebody sees Rosalind Bliss, tell her that this is her special anniversary day, and we thank her for her service here in the city of Grand Rapids. All right, this jazz singer and trumpeter, now just that much, I think, gives this away to somebody that might not. See, I grew up in Chicago, so I'm familiar with this. He was born August 4, 1901. His most famous songs were What a Wonderful World, Hello, Dolly, and When the Saints Go Marching In. He was married 4 times. We're talking about, by the way, in Chicago, my father was a jazz drummer. And so people like Louis Armstrong, a.k.a. Satchmo, were idols. I mean, they were the people that you looked up to. My dad used to play at a place called the Dreamland Cafe, which is on State Street. A lot of the jazz clubs were at 31st and State and 35th and State in Chicago. But that was interesting. And sometimes they would play till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. They just loved their music there. Let's take a look at the answer, I believe, and there he is, Louis Armstrong. Yeah, by the way, for a short time, maybe it was even longer than a short time, he held the record for being the oldest person to have a #1 record in the world, or in the United States, on the Billboard charts, I guess I should say. And I believe that was Hello, Dolly. And it actually rose to #1 on the Billboard charts. And I remember reading about Louis Armstrong and him wondering why people wanted to hear him sing, because his voice was so raspy from playing the trumpet all those years. Who'd want to hear me sing? But they did. And he certainly received a fair amount of acclaim for his musical ability. On again, and we'll take a look at what else is here. Louis Armstrong visited Michigan a few times. He performed at the University of Michigan and in Ludington. That's interesting. A lot of jazz performers performed at Idlewild, which is east of Baldwin in Lake County, east of the Baldwin area. But if you ever get up there, that's a historic area where there are a lot of performers that came up from Chicago to play there. He also spent several years in Chicago. Yeah, and he stiffed the mob. Everybody loved Louis Armstrong because he just didn't cave to the mob all the time. In fact, one point in time, he had to leave, and I think he hid out in New York for a while because he heard the mob was looking for him. But he didn't take a lot of guff from the mafiosos there in Chicago. Okay, what else we got here for us here? This U.S. president was born August 4, 1961. Now, that's fairly recent. That's going to narrow things down quite a bit. Before becoming president, he was an Illinois state senator and then U.S. senator. His famous quotes include, "Why can't I just eat my waffle?" uh, I love that one. This would be Barack Obama, who is from Illinois, grew up there in Illinois. And his presidential museum is under construction right now, I believe, on the south side of Chicago. So I have to get down there and take a look at that someday when I get back to the Windy City. All right, next we have several pictures, I think, to share with you. First, on this date in 1784, the Russians began to settle Alaska. Remember, we bought Alaska from the Russians. They claimed portions of North America from 1732 to 1867, mostly Alaska, but small portions of California too. Peak population of Russians was around 4,000. Only around 500 were present when it was sold to the U.S. in 1867. The United States bought it for the equivalent of $129 million today. Some people called it Seward's Folly because they thought the land was worthless, but of course it wasn't worthless. We struck oil, we struck gold. There was the big gold rush up in Alaska. And of course, it's turned out to have so many other things, including tourism. I've been to Alaska twice now. Beautiful place to be. And I believe that is a picture either I took or my daughter Michelle took on a trip we took to Juneau, Alaska. And that's interesting. By the way, Juneau is named after Joe Juneau, who did nothing more than dig a hole there. But they determined he was the first person to kind of settle in there. So they named the capital after him. So that's where Juneau, Alaska came from. He wasn't a star politician or head of the road commission or anything like that. Joe Juneau, the namesake of Juneau, Alaska, which is landlocked. You can't drive out of Juneau, Alaska. You have to put your car on a ship if you want to bring it down to the 48 states. It's surrounded by mountains and there's no roads going over the mountains. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, look at this. This check was used to purchase Alaska. That's kind of interesting. First of all, look at the beautiful penmanship somebody has. Wow, isn't that amazing? Wish I could do that. I was still part of the era that had cursive writing when we were in elementary school. I don't know that they do that anymore. But handy to have, writing checks and whatnot, especially when you can write this well. But there it is. I mean, can you imagine you could just write a check for $129 million? That's pretty cool. All right, let's see what else we got here. Coast Guard on this date. That's one of the reasons why we have Coast Guard Festival in the first week in August. Founded in 1790, there were 10 vessels. Initially, they were assigned to patrol ports and enforce tariffs. We had tariffs even back then. We did. Taxes were initially a large part of the motivation for having a Coast Guard. Eventually merged with the U.S. Life-Saving Service in 1915 to officially become the U.S. Coast Guard. And, you really ought to bounce around the internet and see some of the great things that the Coast Guard has done. You can see on YouTube video of Coast Guard rescues in Lake Michigan off the west coast of the United States. That's really a good work, and especially here in the Great Lakes, we appreciate our Coast Guard and are proud to salute them in Grand Haven with the fireworks, the parade, all of the other activities that go on during the first week in August in Grand Haven. Okay, I think we have one more here for you. On August 4, 2006, this movie was released. It stars Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, and Sacha Baron Cohen. That's an interesting combination of people, by the way. The protagonist is a NASCAR driver sponsored by Wonder Bread and Powerade. The movie includes a prayer thanking Jesus for a bountiful harvest of Domino's, KFC, and the always delicious Taco Bell. If you don't know the name of the answer, bring Alex on camera. Alex, if you are there, please come on camera, and we'll see if we can discuss this. I think I know the movie, but the movie is related. The movie's related to Alabama, isn't it?
That's where the driver's from.
Mm-hmm.
The fictitious driver.
Yes, indeed. And what is the name of the movie?
Name of the location, name of the town he is from. That is Talladega Nights.
And Talladega is not a big city, is it?
Not really. Most of it's to support the stadium.
Yeah.
And fun fact, it was during those storms in April while there was a tornado in Talladega County, Alabama. This movie was playing in one of the film channels.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Interesting. Yeah, neat. Yeah, I have never seen the movie, but doesn't Will Ferrell in the poster? He just kind of looks like he'd be a like a bad guy kind of NASCAR driver.
Kinda.
Yeah, he just looks a little kind of determined right there, we'll say. Interesting. All right. Well, thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. We got a couple of pictures to share with you here. This is from Dave Verhoeven. Sunset over Fisher's Lake, a beautiful sunset. And again, this is a sunset that with just a little bit of smoke in the air there, giving it that kind of orangish color and gray as you get down toward the horizon. Thank you, Dave, for that. And we got another picture for you here. And this is from John Doherty up in Benzie County. You got the sunshine there, and you've got a contrail making a shadow, it looks like, as it's going by there from the top of the sun off to the right there a little bit. Very interesting shot there. And again, you can see the effect, the sun looking just a little bit different because of a thin layer of smoke in the sky. And we got one more picture to show you from John Scully. And remember I talked about the fact that the winds were fairly calm today. Look at the calm weather right there at the lake. You got a sailboat out there, but that sail's not going to do you a whole lot of good on a day when the average wind speed is just 3 miles an hour. I checked the wind at the South Haven buoy, and they were reporting a 3 mile an hour wind with 3-inch waves is all. So that was interesting. Well, we're into the first week of August. A dry pattern continues. So if you are looking for some rain, you may have to grab the hose or the sprinkler and give the garden a little bit of a drink. We'll see if we can get you some rain later on. The dry pattern should continue here. We see a bit of a change in pattern as we look to about August 10 or so. And then we might see a little wetter pattern here. And we're also going to see a ramp up in hurricane activity. Hurricane activity peaks September 10th is the peak of the hurricane season. So this period 4 weeks before and 4 weeks after is usually a time when there's quite a bit of activity. And there's my famous picture taken July 22nd of snow that fell at, this is at the Columbian Glacier, the Columbia ice field in not Manitoba, but Alberta, British Columbia. And we had a great time, a great trip, holiday vacations, my third trip with them. And hopefully we'll tack on another one here next year. Have yourself a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining me.